Saturday morning to you. This fine first Saturday of August. My name is Clinton Paris, and I am one of the co-hosts of Straight Up the Middle right here on Intex News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. Now, listen, when I say reality radio, what I really mean is what you hear happening on the radio is not a test, it's not recorded, it's really happening in the moment, and we bringing to you the people we think are significant in our community that reflects what's happening around this country. So I want to welcome everybody, wherever you may be situated, to this fine Saturday morning as we get ready to get back to school. And I've been trying to make this happen for a while. Pete's still in recovery. Some say it's because of that butt whooping I put on him a couple weeks ago here in the studio. But really, Pete's out working hard, and he's out hard in the community going bus stop to bus stop, taking the pulse of the people. And so in his place this morning for our first segment, 15 minutes, I have with me none other than the iconic civil rights attorney, Mr. Delano Smart Stewart. Good morning, Mr. Stewart. How you feeling today?
I am feeling wonderfully well, and I want to say God works in mysterious ways. Last Sunday morning when I woke up, I saw this lady who is a candidate for Congress, and I know her husband, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing her say. She was worse than Bull Connors, and the rest of those persons who we spent my early life fighting.
Yes.
But I got good news Friday. The University of South Florida is giving a degree that should have been gotten 50 years ago to Arthur Favors, also known as Askia Muhammad. We have been fighting, and the original fight that I was in with them, they contended he had cheated on an IQ test. And therefore, that fight lasted until last Friday. And what I tell people all of the time, civil rights is not a patient endeavor. And I looked when I saw the president hanging that around my dear friend Fred Gray, who is a prominent lawyer,
Yes,
who handled syphilis cases, and who was in Tuskegee, Alabama, and he may not have gotten a peanut and butter sandwich, and it wouldn't have been peanut and butter, but the George Washington Carver.
Listen, Delano Stewart, you're a walking civil rights history book, and so my first question is going to be, update the community on the status of your book. When are we going to get a chance to see these memoirs? Besides coming by over to your house and getting a drink on that patio, when are we going to put this? When is that going to hit the shelves?
Let me tell you what. I finished the book. Then I gave it to my daughter to have each of my daughters, 6 of them, to give. And they got in a war, and who I have not said enough about. I'm shocked. They cannot move off of it. And I finally got somebody. Because they are arguing over, you said more about this child.
Well, yeah.
And so human beings are selfish.
Right.
And I go back to this. I loved my dear friend who stayed in jail all those years in South Africa. But he was in a class, he had parents who were had class, and so he was going, and he had this Englishman, 6'7", red-headed, who he thought was the most brilliant person in the world. And Wolfloo, who at that time was the militant of South Africa, was visiting the school. So he cannot see because he does not want the militant. And so many times we believe that because we went to Morehouse, or we went to A&M, we got college degrees, or we you are not necessarily smarter than the guy who hadn't been to school.
Right.
And what happened when the Whistle took the stage and they were pulling the curtain back, he purposely stopped the curtain from going across. And he said, gentlemen, the difference between Europe and Africa is everything in Africa lives. You see this bamboo cane that I thrust up with a gazelle head as a spearhead, and I stopped that piece of steel bringing a curtain. None of those things ever lived. And I always want all of us as a people, we have lived. We have lived in the hours of hell. That's why I love your father so much.
Well, thank you. Listen, he has been making appearances through people on this show repeatedly, which really, warms my heart, because our history is littered with unknown soldiers who battled in their own way. Right now, Dale, we get people saying, well, black folks aren't fighting enough.
Well, could I tell you this? My father and my daddy was the first black person down there. He was assistant superintendent to the Hillsborough County in charge of accreditation. And he is trying to get this project. And Vanderbilt, who was a colleague, he said, darling, what you're saying is wonderful, but you need to find a place to let you urinate. You can't think if you can't pee. And that is a true story.
All right, Dale. So, okay, listen. All right, so I don't have you for long, so I got to get your thoughts on a couple of things.
Whatever you want from me.
The first one is the ruling of Roe versus Wade, and whether or not we're in trouble with the decision regarding abortion really going back to the states as opposed to the federal government. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if it goes back to the states, we have to be prepared to fight another civil war, because people are not going back. Our intellectuality is not where it was. Nobody is going to control anybody's body. I got 6 daughters, college trained, but I had no right to stop them from being impregnated if they wanted to keep it or they didn't want to keep it. That was their decision.
Yes.
And when you start making decisions like that, then you have become God. God makes certain decisions for us. You are a good parent, and you and I have talked about a lot of different things.
Yes.
But it is not my job as a parent to live my child's life. It is to guide as best I can. And this is what white people have not wanted to do. They have literally wanted to tell you where to walk.
Yes.
Those old cases about reckless eyeballing. You looked at a white woman across the street. Oh, Emmett Till death.
Yes.
You whistle and die.
So
that is somebody becoming God in your life, and they don't have a right to do that.
Listen, if you just tuned in, this is a Straight Up the Middle, and you're listening to iconic civil rights lawyer Delano Stewart, who's generous enough to get on the air with us a little bit this morning. Mr. Stewart, but what about the outcome out in Kansas? Because I think it was the first vote, Kansas, a deep red state where...
And they turned it around.
Yes.
And it was, Roe was overwhelmed. Well, see, what is the law is not what is the best thing for people. It's the best thing for people with power. You've seen that 1,000 times. And the reason here Muhammad opened the favors was not, they did not believe his IQ was higher than most people who were out there at the school.
They just could accept that, and that's anchored in the some of the undercurrent of, I think, the view in which people look at us through racial lenses, discriminatory lenses that are prejudiced.
Let me tell you something. I have never forgotten the closest I did 3 years, 721 days with a uniform on, and I've never turned my pistol or my rifle on America or its ideals. But
Yes.
I could not get in a bar course, and I am in the halls in the beautiful is a beautiful building, Tampa Theater building. So Mr. Duff had his class, and he said, "Dylan, I know you from a fine family and all that, but this is my total income, and if I let you in and people don't come, then I lose a year."
Now, what year we talking about? What year? What year we talking about? This late 50s?
64,
Yes.
1964.
64. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm in the hall, got to let people step over me to go to the restroom, but I was determined that I was not gonna give up.
And this is for
So
bar
now
prep. This is the bar prep class that they would not let
This
you
is the-
attend.
That's right. Now here's what happened. You make friends and you start talking to people.
Uh-huh.
So somebody said, "This is 1 week before the bar is given.
Okay.
Let me buy you a cup of coffee." It was a guy who became the mayor of St. Pete. I go down. They order 5 cups of coffee. And I never forget this little skinny guy working probably with a second grade education. He gave glass cup, whether ceramic cup. And it got to me, he gave me a paper cup as if I ordered it to walk. Well, I was so hot that I was trembling. And I was trembling because God wanted me to tremble because I was going to splash him and beat his ass.
And that would have ended your bar career right there. I mean, you'd have been.
It ended. So I know now that the splashing, because of my anger, saved my bar career.
How about that? Well, then, look. Okay, so we got Roe versus Wade. We got Kansas. Now we just had something I think drastic happen in Tampa, and for
In
my
Hillsborough
listeners,
County,
Hillsborough
Tampa,
County,
Florida.
around the country. You saw what happened. A second term elected prosecutor,
Governor.
the governor comes in and says because he doesn't think he's prosecuting enough the certain crimes,
No,
he's going to suspend him. Well, tell me your take on it, Dale.
Well, listen. Remember, had not the president gotten that COVID, he was on his way to Tampa. Well, he doesn't want him to visit. He doesn't want him to visit Tampa because that's going to raise his status and vitiate Biden's president and the Democratic president in this era. But what happened, God is good because what's going to happen now, they are going to wipe that out, and the nation, not only Florida, will know that the governor of Florida is stupid, petty, and is not capable, nor should he have that office.
Very tyrannical.
That man, that's right.
But the bigger thing, but one idea that bothered me about it, I'm very sensitive about democracy and relying on. We have a duly elected state attorney. No
that
major.
Was the people,
yes, the people's choice.
Our state attorney.
Yes,
he was our choice, the people's choice, the electorate's choice, not his choice. But that's what happens when people go. All right, now I want to take you back. Here's what I tell you. From the first time that Donald Trump got on the stage, it was obvious that he had no love or respect for democracy. Because if he loved or respect democracy, he couldn't have done Mrs. Bush the way he did her.
Right.
She is in the early days of civil rights. This was a joke. Let me see your Rolodex. I tell you what, your Rolodex ain't got as many black names as Ms. Bush got.
Yeah.
And there are people in the community who worked all their lives for goodness.
See, Dale, for an educational purpose of our community, what is the role? What's the charge that the people give to a state attorney when he's elected?
carry out the enforcement of the laws of the citizens of Hillsborough County. And therefore, all that stuff your governor's talking about, it would not even be in his jurisdiction. It wouldn't, because jurisdiction is the power to decide.
Uh-huh.
He does not have the power to decide a abortion case that is not within the jurisdictional bounds of Hillsborough County.
Right, exactly.
But,
Now, yeah. And so what is your understanding then of the basis, and I heard it, but what's the basis the governor gave for removing him? Was it just that he may not prosecute crimes that are not in his jurisdiction?
That's right. He contends that he's soft on crime, and you know that he did assemble all of these things. He had this committee, and the young lady that died was on that committee to review cases that were not properly handled.
And to get to set people free who are wrongfully convicted.
That's correct, which is what the law's obligation and duty is. But it is so it's so sad.
Yeah.
That look, I will be 87 on my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I have been in the trenches every day of my life.
And we thank you for that, Delano. I mean, we really do. Yeah.
But here's what I was talking to Fred Gray. Fred Gray and I and another civil rights. He was a judge in Memphis, whose nephew was my classmate at Howard University in law school. And we were fishing between South America and North America, and how all of the fighting that we've done in the citizenship, notwithstanding, Jackie Robinson was an elite athlete. He served and fought his country.
Yes.
And he got court-martialed.
Wow, absolutely, yes.
You sometimes have to say, I'm not taking this shit today.
Wow, Dale. Well, thank you. Listen, Dale. Listen, Dale, I apologize, but we've got our next guest calling in and standing by, running for judge. Listen, we got to get you back on, Dale. You know, as things happen, I will be reaching out. And
and keep praying that I stay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Stewart. All right, y'all. In-Text News. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Thank you, Dale. Thanks a lot. Man, I'm just getting them loosened up,
Love being number one. When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661. By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
All right, we're back live on In-Text News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. You're listening to In-Text News. And listen, we just had our iconic civil rights lawyer, Delano Stewart, on the phone with us this morning. And the reason that we brought him in is wanting to say that the fight for rights in America is ongoing. And that is because of the human nature to simply struggle to reach its highest heights. We have to keep pressing each other. We have to press our government. We have to press pressure all the powers that would limit what people can and cannot do, simply because power is just one of those corrupting aspects of our society. And so we just wanted to get Mr. Stewart on, and we've had him on regularly. He's a mentor of mine, and so many people that in this community of Tampa, Florida, and around the country. You mentioned Mr. Gray, who some of y'all may not know was the impetus behind the syphilis cases, but we thank Mr. Stewart for calling in, and we're going to move the show along. We got our next caller calling in. Good morning, caller. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Nancy Jacobs. I'm calling from Tampa.
Good morning, Miss Jacobs. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am good. So this is Clinton Paris. I'm the co-host here at InTouch News Radio on Straight Up the Middle. And my understanding is, from the notes given to me by our DJ CEO, you are one of the fine candidates running for judge in Hillsborough County.
Yes, I am. I'm running for Group 37, Circuit Court Judge, Group 37.
Okay. Now, I did a little homework just to let you know. I see that you are not only you're a Gator, but you also graduated from law school in Miami.
I did. University of Miami, School of Law.
I want to congratulate you on surviving your trip down south and making the right decision to come make Tampa your home. But tell us a little bit about why do you think the time is right for you to be a judge in Hillsborough County?
Well, I've practiced law for 37 years in Tampa and Pinellas, but mostly in Tampa. And I started out as a prosecutor with Bill James a long time ago. And in 1993, I opened my own practice as a criminal defense attorney and a family lawyer. And as an integral part of my practice is doing pro bono free legal work for active military veterans and their families. I do about 200 hours a year of free legal work for that group of people, and I really enjoy that. That's my way of giving back, even though I'm not a veteran myself. That's the way I give back. And for all of these years, I have been advocating for the constitutional rights of my clients. And now I feel the time is right. I can't advocate any longer as a judge, but I can make sure that every single person that comes into my courtroom has their constitutional rights upheld and respected. And, you know, the Constitution is for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what your station in life is, and what you believe in, and whether you agree with me or not. And that's the role of a judge, to make sure that they listen to the facts of every case and listen to what's being said and to apply the law and to make sure that the law is being upheld and is being and to make sure that everybody is being treated fairly in the courtroom and the law is being applied the same way to every single person. And nobody's getting favors and nobody's being treated improperly.
Right.
And that is, and that's why the time is right, and that's why I am running for judge.
I'll
and
say
that's
it
why
now.
I'm the best candidate.
I'll say it now. So for those people listening around the community and hearing that you're running for judge, and I know a lot of folks think, well, you know, what would a judge, you know, how would a judge impact my life? Why do I need to care? And why do I need to not skip over these folks who want to be a judge and serve? So can you tell us a little bit about what kind of things my listeners need to be concerned about a circuit judge would rule over? What kind of things your court would be handling?
Well, in my opinion, folks should be more concerned about thinking about voting in these down ballot races than probably any of these races that they're looking at the top of their ballot, because the likelihood of you're running into a judge in your daily life is a lot greater than you're running into somebody who's running for or who's a senator or a representative or one of these races. Circuit court judges handle things like divorces and child custody cases, domestic violence injunctions, things like this. In the family court, in criminal court, they handle felony cases, and in that realm, in criminal, they handle estate cases. When somebody dies and their will has to be probated, that's in circuit court. Money judgment cases, contract actions, when someone is sued in over $30,000, that goes into into circuit court. You see these big billboards all over town about car accidents and call this lawyer or call that lawyer. And for your car accident cases, those are in circuit court. There's also what they call the problem-solving courts, like Veterans Court, veterans who have troubles, and they go to Veterans Court, and they hopefully end up there, and they're able to go through that court, and Veterans Treatment Court, where they go through the Veterans Administration, and they are able to get treatment there rather than having to go through the regular court system, and they get mental health care and other other treatment rather than maybe going to prison. That's circuit court. Marchman Act, Baker Act, drug court. Those are all circuit court type cases. So it covers quite the range of cases, and not to mention the fact that if you're called for jury duty, that's a court system type thing. So there's quite a good chance that you're going to end up meeting a judge than you are a senator or a representative or somebody like that on the upper part of your ballot. So you should be concerned.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, too often we get people that say, well, I don't know these people. I don't know who they are. I went online and this is what I put in. I put in Nancy, Judge, and these are the three words I put in. Nancy, Judge, Hillsborough County, to find information about you. But if somebody wanted to find more campaign information about you, where or to donate, where would they go? Or just, let's not put donate aside. Let's just talk about where they can find information.
Well, my website is nancyjacobsforjudge.com. That's one way. I'm on Facebook, Nancy Jacobs for, let me get this right, Nancy L. Jacobs for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge, Group 37. That's Facebook.
Okay.
It's long, but that's the Facebook. Just Google Nancy Jacobs for Judge, for Circuit Court Judge, and it's going to come up.
What if I want? What if somebody wanted to meet you? What if they wanted to? I think I want to, meet. Are you out at community forums? Are you attending events in the community where people might find you and get a chance to shake hands?
I have been all over. I've been at forums all over the community. I was just last week at the NAACP forum at Middleton High School, and I go to Tea and Conversation. I've been, like, anywhere I've been invited, I've been, and I go to just local little events that are just in town, including little art shows, anything that's interesting on Facebook, I go to. Things that aren't even really advertised, I show up, and I also am going to be on Sean Shaw's show this afternoon. Vanguard for Democracy. I'm just out and about. So, and if you want to call me on the phone, I asked my phone number. My regular phone number is 813-789-7173. You can actually literally call me on the phone as well. I'm also down in the courthouse all the time, but I'm sure nobody wants to stop there and see me. But I practice law. I literally practice law, so I'm out there on the street. But I am out all the time.
So you are making the rounds, actually, because I do recall I was.
I do that anyway.
That is outstanding.
I'm out. I'm not huddled up inside hiding from people. I am a people person, and I'm very accessible. And if somebody wants to literally meet me somewhere, I can meet them and talk to them. If they want to talk to me, I don't hide. I will talk to you. So give me a call. I go to everything. I go to everything that I'm physically able to go to. The funny thing is, about a week or so ago, I had 3 forums simultaneously, literally overlapping each other. One of them, luckily, was on Zoom because the other 2 were physically in person. And so I had to go to one and then literally leave as soon as I spoke and get to the other one and drive to the other one, which was like about 20 minutes away. So I had to arrive at that one a little bit late, leave the other one. They were literally all at the same time.
Well, listen, it sounds like to me you're doing what we need you to do in this community. If you want to be elected, that's get out, meet the people. I think we have a great judiciary in Hillsborough County. My producer's telling me I've got 1 minute. What parting comment would you like to leave with my listeners?
Well, if you want somebody who is all about the Constitution and representing the people and making sure that the people interests are served and their constitutional rights are are upheld and is going to treat people with integrity, fairness, and respect every single day, and making sure that everybody gets a fair shake in my courtroom, then please vote for Nancy Jacobs for judge in Group 37. And that's who you're going to get every single day.
Outstanding.
In your courtroom. So
thank you
thanks
first.
very much for giving me the opportunity.
No, thank you for running. It takes a lot to do that. Nancy Jacobs for Circuit Court Judge Group 37. Want to thank her for calling in today and spending time with us, and we welcome her back anytime she wants to call this show. She can call in and talk to us. If you're a candidate out there, well, how do I get on the show? Well, contact InTouch News and DJ CEO will make the arrangements, and we'll see if you can stand the heat. Some of these questions we throw at you. So listen, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back on the other side and continue the conversation. InTouch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody can be a star. We'll be right back.
Chance to see your favorite group, the OJs, live in concert with Gerald Alston and the Manhattans, Friday, August 26th in the Straz Center. Also featuring Shirley Murdoch, the OJs with hit after hit. Gerald Alston and the Manhattans and Shirley Murdoch. Say goodbye. Friday, August 26th in the Straz Center. It's the Farewell Tour for the OJs. For tickets, go online to StrazCenter.org. Put your hands together for the OJs, Gerald Alston, the Manhattans, and Shirley Murdoch.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview. All right, we're back live on InTouch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. I mean, you know, one of the bad things about having profound guests on the show is I don't get to go through my therapeutic outbursts, and so I had to hold I've been having to hold myself together, and so I got a couple things I want to just get off my chest, and we may have another caller call in, but while that's in the works, let me just go through a couple of things. First of all, this week I was elated. Just elated because the grand chapter from the international headquarters of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated landed in Tampa. And it brought the entire entourage. It felt like the Queen of England was moving through our community. Limousines and stretch buses and all kinds of vehicles to move the magnificent leadership of our fraternity. And when the grand pole mark shows up, he not only brings himself, but he brought the province pole march. They all showed up as well with their support staff and team. And then, of course, the foundation couldn't be left out, so they showed up with their board of directors and all the people working with them. Then, John Burrell, our executive director, he showed up, and of course, he's got his staff. And so that we keep to our true mission of training for leadership, they brought in the junior vice grand pole mark, and his team came in as well. And they brought along with them ESPN announcer Ryan Clark, who just so happens to be what I call a fine Kappa. And they all came to Tampa on Thursday to launch the 86 Grand Chapter official countdown. We are now on the clock, Tampa, for the 86th Grand Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And here's why this is significant. First of all, Tampa has hosted numerous Super Bowls, the NCAA, NHL hockey finals. The Rays have gone to the World Series. The events that we've hosted in Tampa are immense, but we've never hosted a grand chapter conclave or convention for the Divine Nine. Never. Now, and for the backdrop of this, understand this to everybody around the country. You may not think it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And here's why. First of all, the Divine Nine collectively contains some of the greatest brain trust of Black America. Some of the best and brightest and strongest thinkers we've ever had in this country came through their development in the Divine Nine structure. And for those who may not fully be aware, the Divine Nine are the predominantly African-American fraternities and sororities based on colleges around the country. And their alumni. Right now, for example, Kamala Harris is an AKA. She's from the Divine Nine. You cannot find leadership in this country where the Divine Nine is not impactful. Oftentimes, they'll say, well, I didn't join a group, but my parents were. Or my son is, or my pastor is. So to have Tampa host that convention is a great reflection on Tampa, because it means that Tampa's comfortable with itself. Because you're going to bring in some of the most powerful people in this country that happen to be African Americans. July 18th through July 23rd will be the conclave. All the major corporations around this country will be in Tampa, setting up their various presentations, programs. They'll be having seminars. They'll be recruiting. And if you ever hung out with the Kappas, we're going to party. And let me just take it another notch. We're going to party hard. We're going to turn Tampa Bay into Kappa Bay. It's going to be a great time. So Tampa, we are just excited. They're here for the entire weekend, scoping out venues, meeting with our local leadership, going over programming ideas and directives. And I don't know, some folks think, well, I don't really know who the Divine Nine are. All right, let's see if I can get them all. I can get them all right. And somebody call me and correct me. Well, you have Alpha Phi Alpha. They're the black and gold guys. They do a lot of hopping and hooping. And they say that we carry pens, not pencils, because we don't make mistakes. I mentioned the wonderful ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, who my wife happens to be a member, and DJ CEO's daughter is a member as well. You also have, then I mentioned Kappa Alpha Psi, the fine brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi, who are dedicated to achievement in every field of endeavor. And here's why we're dedicated to achievement. We're dedicated to achievement because it's what we do. It's achievement. You also have Phi Beta Sigma, the blue and white, and their sister organization, Zeta Phi Beta. You also have Sigma Gamma Rho. And I'm trying to think, who did I miss? And those, they do a lot of boot jumping and kicking, yelling and screaming, out of control. always hanging around the campus wanting to, approach us about something. Oh, yeah, those guys. Omega Psi-Phi, who my friend Delano Stewart happens to be a member of as well. Yes. And the wonderful sister organization to Omega Psi-Phi, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And then you all may not know one organization that is also Divine Nine. I'm trying to remember the name there. Brown. Somebody help me out because we didn't have them on my campus. They're the ninth organization, and I'm drawing a complete blank. I apologize for that. But it will come to me before the show's over. I will tell you who the ninth organization is. But anyway, that's the Divine Nine. But listen, I just want to get everybody excited and supportive of what we're doing because we go around the country doing these events, and if we've probably been to your city, and it's a big deal that Tampa has been selected and will be hosting the Kappas. So with that being said, though, we're going to take a quick break. Look, I think we got our guests is here, and what we're going to do is take a quick break, and when we come back on the other side, we're going to bring another. Yes, we're loaded with guests. Evidently somebody that want me to talk today. So we're going to bring in our next guest, and just hang tight. This is Intex News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. We will be right back after this commercial break.
You're listening to Tampa Bay Tammy.
Your girlfriend.
On In Touch Radio.
In Touch Radio. Get ready for over 5 decades of music. It's the last stop on the Love Train Tour, starring the OJs. It's your last chance to see your favorite group. The OJs live in concert. With Gerald Austin and the Manhattans. Friday, August 26th in the Straz Center. Also featuring Shirley Murdoch. The OJs with hit after hit. With Gerald Austin and the Manhattans and Shirley Murdoch. Say goodbye. Friday, August 26th in the Straz Center. It's the Farewell Tour for the OJs. For tickets, go online to StrazCenter.org. Put your hands together for the OJs, Gerald Olsen, Manhattans, and Shirley Murdoch.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/hereforyou.
All right, we're back live at Intex News Radio. Reality radio, everybody could be a star. I know you all wonder, well, is it really reality radio? Yes, it is reality radio. DJ CEO throws around a lot of weight, but look, we control things from this side of the microphone, and I am so excited that today we have our third. I don't know when the last time I was able to get 3 people to come in one day and actually say something that I wanted to as well. But we've got our third guest in with us live in studio. None other than attorney Lynette Starr Brookins. How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
All right,
How
so
are
the
you?
first curveball, you ready? Where does this star come from?
So that was actually, I was supposed to be a boy. So my name was supposed to be Solomon after my dad.
Okay.
And there was actually a superstar, a soap opera star over in Germany where I was born, and her name was Star. So my mom was in the hospital bed, and she's like, that's a good name. She's going to shine. Let's do that.
Wow,
I see it in her.
outstanding, good. So you're running for county court judge in Hillsborough County, Florida, correct?
Correct.
All right, so let's start out by what qualifies you to potentially be a judge. And I want to tell you this right now. We're live on Facebook as well as on YouTube, and this will be recorded and replayed over the next week or so. So go ahead and make your case.
Perfect. So I'm running for a county court judge, which is known as the People's Court. There's a lot of mistrust going on about the institution of the judiciary right now. So I think the most important thing is that we have someone in that seat that we trust, someone that we know. So I've been out in this community for over 2 decades, giving back to my community in any and every way that I can. So I think that that's the most important, right? It's not, I don't just talk the talk, but I actually walk the walk, and I've been out doing those things. But also, I'm the most qualified because I'm an award-winning attorney, and unlike, my opponents, I've actually been on the other side. So I've not just advocated, but I've actually been a decision maker as a hearing officer, which I've done for the past 4 years. So a lot of those cases, pro se litigants, people without attorneys, I've handled those cases for the past 4 years. So that really puts me leaps and bounds ahead of my competition. So I'm ready to go on day one. The breadth and depth of my experience.
What about your connection in the community? I mean, it's one thing to be within, I guess, the cubicle of the legal world and what we do in there. Talk about your work in the community that would give you a feel for these people's court people that may come before you.
Right. So I tell people I've been boots on the ground action as well as up in the ivory towers trying to move the needle that way, right? So I've been a member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority for 15 years now.
Oh, okay. Hold it right there. We need to clean up something, DJ CEO. I just got my ninth Divine Nine, and Starbrook is up with that. It is the Iotas.
Yes.
Iotas. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Sorry. I want to clean that up before somebody send me a nasty email. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So I've been very active in my sorority. They do things like youth symposium and giving back to youth. So I've been very active with them, and that's kind of one of the biggest things that I started with, right? But it's not just been that, of course. So I'm active with a group called the Athena Society, and I chair an organization called the Young Women of Promise. And so what we do is we highlight juniors, outstanding juniors in our community, and give them that network. Because Athena Society is full of women who are at the pinnacle of their career. All the female judges are in that group. Every female CEO of every organization in the Tampa Bay area is in that group. So we're not just giving them, the cash prize, the newspaper articles. We're giving them that sisterhood that they can really go and flourish and not have to do things like I did as a first-generation lawyer, just try to flounder around until you figure it out, so that they can actually have that help so they can be a step ahead of everyone else that they're competing with.
Now, my understanding is you come out of a military and law enforcement family.
I do.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so my dad's retired Army, and he's also retired from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. My stepmom's retired from the Hillsborough Sheriff's County Office as well, Elvira Huggins and Solomon Brookins. And my mom's a retired public school teacher. And so I like to tell people I come from a background of law and service. My mom's actually Dr. Sonja Brookins, so she got elected back in 2020. So she serves as our soil and water supervisor.
I thought that name sounded familiar. And now, are you related at all to James Brookins?
So we're not sure. We say we're cousins because our name is so rare, right?
Right.
So we always joke that we're cousins.
Yeah, he's an iconic figure in our community.
Yes.
So tell me the kind of things, if you're elected judge, what kind of things will people possibly what would come before you? What kind of cases?
Right. So civil cases under $30,000, I've handled that. Misdemeanor crimes, I've handled that as well.
As an attorney, you handle that.
Attorney.
So you know exactly what the judge should be doing.
Exactly. I've handled some cases pro bono for domestic violence injunctions and stalking injunctions. Those kind of things would go before a county court judge, traffic ordinances, things like that. So small claims court. So it's a lot of disputes, citizens against citizens. It's landlord tenant. And I did a lot of that work when I was with the Florida Rural Legal Services as well. So, I've seen it. I've done it. No one can say that they've seen it all, right? There are judges who haven't seen it all.
Yes.
So, but I've seen a lot, and I've seen enough on both sides of the aisle that I know what I'm doing, and I can go in there on day one, no matter where Chief Judge puts me.
Now, one of the things that is the practice of any. Let me back up. Let me map it together here. So most people don't have a dream. They're just living. And then those people oftentimes who have a dream don't have the courage to pursue the dream. And then a lot of people who are blessed to have a dream and the courage don't have the opportunity to pursue the dream. It's kind of like Michael Jordan, born in the 1800s. He would have never been able to play basketball because basketball wasn't there yet.
Right.
So for someone like you who's had a dream, had the courage to pursue that dream, had the resources and ability to achieve the dream of being a lawyer, now, what moves you now to move beyond that to now want to be a judge?
My service to the community. That's it. My commitment to the community, and I know that I can do it. A lot of times these seats have been reserved for people who have all of the money in the world, who can throw $50,000, $100,000 into a campaign. But I'm lucky in that I have the community support, right? So I've been out here and I've been doing these things, and the community supports me because they've seen what I've actually done and that I've effectuated change. So I ran back in 2017, 2018, and I got knocked down a lot, but I got back up. Got a lot of mentors, built a lot more relationships through that, and I'm out here doing great things and going after my dreams again. So a lot of time that's what it's about. Sometimes you have to learn the system in order to navigate within the system. So I feel extremely blessed because just like in 2018, it was me and my mama, and now it's me and my mama, but now we have more experience, right?
Yes.
We took courses, so we're more adept at what we need to do. And so I look at those and I see the blessings of like the Tampa Bay Times endorsement.
I saw that, and that is like the pinnacle of endorsements that you can get in our community. With somebody, you mentioned you're out and about in the community, somebody wants to meet you. Somebody wants to, get to see, make sure this is the person I want. Are you attending community events and forums, and where could somebody possibly, connect up with you if they wanted to say, I want to go meet that person, make sure she's the candidate for me?
Of course. So anyone can call me, 813-418-0514. We can get together. We can meet up. I can come to you so that you can get to know me as a person and get to know my temperament and what I'm about. I'm always out in the community. I'm actually at the East Tampa Family Fun Day now. I left one of my friends there, and I'm like, I got to go. I got to go talk to people.
Got it. Well, thank you for coming over here. We appreciate that. Last thing is, if somebody wants to learn more about your campaign, is there something online, some social media? Where can they find out more about your campaign?
So it's www.votebrookins4judge.com, and it is VOTEBROKINSFORJUDGE.com.
Outstanding. And listen, we want to commend you first of all on your career. I'm just so proud of you, having been a lawyer myself in the community and hearing that name and watching it flourish. It is really, really wonderful. And seeing you now run for judge, I just really commend you for doing that. You're welcome back here anytime during the campaign. You want to come in and call in or jump into our show and say hello to the people. You're welcome anytime to come back.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, everybody. That's Lynette Starr Brookins running for county judge, Hillsborough County, Florida. Look, she's got the swag and the paraphernalia and the Divine Nine backing her up. So that is outstanding. Listen, y'all, I'm not. I know exactly what happened. I know that DJ CEO is trying to protect Pete's reputation by making sure I don't spend the whole hour talking about him. But Pete, we love you, and we look forward to having you back in the show. But next week, I'm not going to be here. But we have a special co-host that's going to make an appearance. None other than the Honorable Edwin Lorraine is going to be in the hot seat, bringing the flavor to everybody. So we want to thank you all for supporting us and for connecting with our show, and want to thank our guests for coming in today. Thank you very much, Star. Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Listen, everybody, I don't know where you are, what's going on with you today, but look, make it a great day. Do not let this day get by without you making it count in your life, because I can guarantee one thing: you'll never get it back. And when it's gone, you'll have one less to get done the things that you want to get done. We're in a great season. The summer's coming to an end. School's about to start back up. The biddies will be back out. So we want to make everybody be conscious of where you are. And if you know somebody has kids in school, support them. I had a great time this week reaffirming my role as everybody's favorite uncle, sending out little nuggets to all my nephews and nieces and great nephews and nieces as they get ready to go back to school, and also the back to school programs. These programs don't do themselves. People do these programs. So I want to encourage everyone to support a back to school program in your community. Education is really the key. As you heard from our guest today, well educated from the fine University of South Florida, my alma mater. Education is still the key to a different society than what we have right now. So I want to encourage everyone to please get out and support those people who are making education happen. And how about you hug a teacher and donate some supplies when these kids get back in school? Also, if you know a teacher, donate some supplies to our teachers. They're well underserved. And if you're so inclined, slide them a gas card or two. Help them with their fuel. Buy them lunch somewhere. We don't support our education, our teachers enough, and that's why we have so many open positions. There is so much that we need done in our community, and it can only be done if we all do our part. This is In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. I want to thank you all for listening. Edna Rain will be in the seat next week, but after that, it's back to the knuckles with me and Pete on In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio, where everybody can be a star. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.